In this screencast, I'm going to show you how you can monitor a Minecraft server. And this is going to be useful not just for people who are running Minecraft servers, which probably isn't that many of you, but when you're monitoring any sort of Windows server application. Minecraft server is on Windows is Java based, and it's just one process. It's just one Java process. And I'm not a Minecraft expert. I can play it to a certain degree, but I'm certainly no guru. But I decided to run this server here just for fun and play with my daughter and friends. And I noticed that the log file contains some interesting information that I can utilize to get alerts. For example, when a player joins or leaves the game. So instead of arranging and telling each other, okay, we're going to play this time and so forth, I'm actually automatically getting an email anytime somebody joins the game, for example. But I'm also getting alerts when the server is really taxed. The Java-based edition of Minecraft only uses a single process, so having a fast processor is important, and especially when a lot of people are playing at the same time. So it's useful to know, okay, the server is too busy right now, so you can get alerts about that as well. So what we're looking at here is a dashboard that I created just for Minecraft, and this is totally customizable. This is just something that I came up with. A lot of some of this information here is collected automatically by EventSentry. So EventSentry automatically captures key metrics from any process that's running on the system. For example, memory usage and CPU usage. Here I've got the overall CPU usage of that system, and here's the log, from the Minecraft server, the most recent data. So let's start with the logs and how we can get an email when somebody joins. I think that's probably the best, most useful example. So the first thing you tell EventSentry is where the log file is. But before we even go into rules and emails, EventSentry just needs to know, okay, well, where is the log? And that's done by clicking on log files and clicking on define files in the ribbon or define files in file types. And I've already done the work. So if you scroll down here, you see that we've got Minecraft here. The name is Minecraft. We're going to use that later. It's an undelimited log file, so it's not separated, or we're not going to utilize any sort of special fields like date and whatnot. And then we just tell where the log is. Minecraft is pretty simple. It's always the same log file. That log file is always copied over and zipped, I think, at the end of every day. Which makes it easier for us. We just have to point it to that log file. So now that we know that this EventSentry knows about this log file, we need to tell EventSentry what to do with that log file. And that's where packages come in. So you can see there's a Minecraft package here. We can also see that if we expand. And inside that Minecraft package is the Minecraft log file. So you create this package, you assign it globally in this case, if you want to, or just assign it to the server. And you add the log file. So this works like this. You click the package, and then you just say add log file. The Minecraft is not showing up because I already added it. And then when you click it, you have essentially two modes, right? One is the database consolidation mode. So here we're saying log all lines to the database except for exclusions below. There's not enough volume in the log that we have to exclude anything. Everything is useful. And we're really just saying just write everything to the primary database. The second one are the event log alerts. That's something that you need if you wanted to get an email alert, a text alert, whatnot. Here we're saying log to the application event log with a severity of error. And then we're saying the opposite of what we did on the tab before, which is only log lines that are included below. And I've got two lines, joined the game or left the game. I could probably consolidate that to just the game, but just to keep things in order here, I've added two lines. So if any of these strings match, EventSentry will write something to the event log. So let's take a look at that. So anything that EventSentry writes is going to be logged under the event source of EventSentry. So we can already filter that. We know from before that it's not going to be an information event and it's not going to be a warning event. And bingo, here we are, log file monitoring. If I double click that, we'll see that a user left the game. So here's the information about EventSentry, text match, one or more filter rules, name Minecraft, that's the name that we defined earlier, the path to the file, and this is the actual line that was logged. The context was disabled. Context shows you the lines before and after the log file. We don't need that in this case. And there's more. So joined the game and left the game. You can see depending on the log file, there may be a little bit of a delay if the logs are not flushed to disk right away. A lot of server processes do that. So for example, you can see here that the actual line was logged at 9:03, but it wasn't detected by EventSentry until 9:07. So there's a 4-minute lag. There's ways around that with processes that you can run on the system if that's a problem, but man, more often than not, that small delay is not a big issue. So we've got the logs in the database, so at any point in time, we can search for them in the web reports under search log files. Okay, and here we can search if you have multiple Minecraft servers or whatever server application you're running, you can search across all of them. But how do we get the alert via email? And that's something that's configured on the event logs because that's where it's written to. And I've already done the work, so there's again a Minecraft package. And I created a filter, an include filter, that essentially, include filter's job is essentially forward events from the event log to a destination. That could be a database, could be like a Telegram, Messenger app, could be Slack, and of course, could just be email. And here we're really just saying, okay, anything that's logged to the application event log is an error from EventSentry with the ID 8000 that contains joined the game and comes from the log file Minecraft. Okay, so if you double click that and click on preview, you'll see this is the name that we defined, insertion string number 3, right? So we're saying 3 matches Minecraft. And then send an email. And it's really as simple as that. So as soon as somebody joins and it's being logged to the log file and it's being picked up and flushed to disk, EventSentry is just going to send an email to the person. So you could create custom notifications too for specific players. If a specific player wants to know if another player joined, then you can simply add a different rule and make this more specific. So instead of just saying join the game, you could add the username, right? And that's really how simple it is, and just to get notified about certain things. And of course, you could create different filters here too for about, if you look at the log file here, we see things like can't keep up, right? So if you wanted to know that somebody's can't keep up, that the server can't keep up, then you could get an alert about that too. Obviously not something you want to do with this server that seems to not be able to keep up a whole lot. But there's other messages that sometimes are being logged by Minecraft that are fun, actual chat messages and so forth. But of course, we could do a lot more than just monitor the log. EventSentry has a full system health monitoring subsystem component to it. So by default, as I showed here on the dashboard, right, we're looking at the memory usage and the CPU usage of the Minecraft server. That's done by default. There's nothing to add. The overall CPU usage of the server is being always logged, again, done by default. Here I'm looking at the Minecraft folder, so the entire server is running on the C Minecraft, and I just want to keep an eye on that, right? In this case, it's obviously not using a lot of space, 500 megs, it's nothing. But you may have other applications, where that's an issue, where you're interested in keeping an eye on a number of files, maybe, or you want to make sure it doesn't exceed a certain amount of space. So that's something that I created here. So if you have another Minecraft package, this one is global, as you can see with that little global icon. And we can see here, I just basically said, okay, monitor the C Minecraft folder, and if it's more than a gig, then I want to get an alert. I'm also monitoring the process itself. So I happen to know that the command line of the Java process is server include server.jar, because that's essentially the whole system, the whole code, the code that we want to execute to get the server. So what I'm saying here is I want to make sure that at any point in time there is a Java process that includes server.jar at the end of its command line, and that one of those instances is active. We're also getting other things like alerts, if a process does or does not listen for incoming network connections anymore. But that's besides the point. So those are some of the things that you can do. So you'll get notified if the process utilization is high. For example, we have custom counters here on the performance application that ships with EventSentry that keeps an eye on every process in the system. So basically gives you the ability to visualize performance data from any monitored system. And so, for example, if we go to health trends, we can take a look and we can say, okay, I want to see the application CPU utilization of the Java process. And we can see that when Java was being played, you can see exactly where the spikes are, and sometimes it's pretty busy. The CPU utilization here, it says 26% because that's the CPU utilization relative to the whole system. So the system has 4 cores, and the Java process was at some point, if it says 26%, it means that it's potentially more than one running, or that it's using essentially around 100% of a single CPU. So it's mostly running just on one core of a system. It may be, running some threads on a different processor, which is why it explains the 26%, which is more than 25%. But the majority of the code is essentially just running on one processor. And we have a counter, an alert counter for this. So if you take a look here, we're saying if the CPU utilization is higher than 99% for 10 minutes, then we want to get an alert. So this is essentially the regular CPU usage counter that comes with Windows, but we're multiplying it by the number of logical cores. So like I mentioned, the CPU usage reported by Windows is always divided by the number of cores on the system. So if you have a system with 8 cores and a single application is using 100% of one core, it will be 12.5% CPU utilization. So this brings this up, this normalizes that value, so it's a little bit more descriptive, right? So if you have 8 cores, then essentially what this allows us to do is create alerts based on, regardless of how many cores are in the system. Otherwise, you'd have to create different rules based on how many cores the system has. So this is really nice in normalizing things. And there's all sorts of other things you can do as well. Monitor services and so forth. Most server applications do run as services, and it gives you the ability to really keep an eye on any application from a variety of angles. So not just saying, okay, I want to monitor the CPU utilization, but we can dig into how many, what's the CPU utilization based on the number of cores the system has. I can email alerts. Email alerts usually contain the actual chart as well. So in this case, you'll get an email alert saying, okay, the Java process is using more than whatever 99% or whatever you adjust this limit to, and the actual email will contain the chart that shows you how is that CPU utilization been, for example. And again, the email alerts, really nice. Any text that you want to get alerted about, you can get that by email, and you could even set different dates and times. So if you said, okay, I really don't care if somebody joins in the middle of the night, then you can go in here and create exclusions at different times of the day, or send different emails to different people depending on who's currently in the shift. Yeah, that's it. That's how you can create a Minecraft, how you can monitor a Minecraft server. Most of this works with EventSentry Lite as well. You won't be able to get the dashboard and all the charting here. But if you really just care about getting email alerts, then you can easily set that up with EventSentry Lite. Same with CPU alerts, right? That's fully supported in EventSentry Lite as well. You just pop EventSentry Lite on there, installation is done in a minute, and you saw how easy it is to set this up. Thanks for watching.